Very good money spending going on by KillerB, keeping his minerals down at 200. Only has about 400 gas saved up, which I mean, at certain points of the game, your gas and minerals are going to be a little bit lopsided, but could be researching infantry level 2, armor level 2 right now because he has the double engineering base. Um, but I'm not going to pick on that too much. Oh, there it goes right there. So excellent work there, staying on top of his upgrades. When you do build that extra engineering bay, you want to make sure you make use of it because those upgrades uh, they take a huge toll on your enemy throughout the game. Um, Looking in the production tab, we have a Thor coming up. Oh, look at that. Um, Completely missed this drop, so we got to go back a little bit until we see it coming down. He loaded the Marauders up from here. It pulls 4 medevacs worth of a drop down into the bottom right hand corner, and usually you want to do this to avoid getting scouted, but expertly placed pylon here by Sixears. Every Protoss should throw a pylon down right there. It's only gonna do good for you. He does spot the drop coming, and let's just see if he has any kind of reaction. Oh, there's a probe putting a pylon down right there. Definitely the army. The army did not start moving until the attack was underway, however. So that's one of those things. Like he did really good to have the pylon in position to scout any drops that were coming his way, but unfortunately, Sixears mini map, like he wasn't watching his mini map well enough to do anything about, like, to make use of this pylon. Look at this, I love this. This Marauder here is like the fat kid that missed the school bus, and he's running, trying to catch up to that medevac, saying, wait up, but no, they are not going to slow down for him, and he is not only going to miss school, but he's also going to be sliced in half by a zealot. So, just a lesson for all you kids out there. You don't want to miss the school bus if there is a zealot chasing you. He does finally scout that proxy pylon right there, but we have a probe up in this region, just kind of looking out to see. Yeah, 2 almost full medevacs. Well, one of them was full, I believe, and then the other medevac gets shot down. 2 Marines dropped out of it, did not do any damage. And now this is another large force. Terrible zealot placement, though. You have to make sure that you get those zealots out of the middle of your stalkers before you attack. And 3 immortals, though, that is definitely a better number. His earlier attacks, if they had 3 immortals in them, would have been way more successful. But now these immortals are taking a heavy toll on KillerB, and I mean, definitely won that exchange, but he backs out because he doesn't think he can take the planetary fortress. I'm curious as to why he didn't think he could push up into the main. I think sometimes people get a little bit too focused on that planetary fortress and think, okay, well, I can't take his expansion, so I better back out. But there's not a whole lot that KillerB could have done if he decided to walk up here and take out, a supply depot, walk right into the main. This is a decently sized force, and the amount of Marauders that KillerB had ready to defend, I don't know. Might not have been enough to hold it off, but anyway, it looks like Sixears just thought it was better to back out. He has a few sentries join up with this army. These immortals are, I think, softened up a little bit. Well, one of them is in the yellow, but that's not going to be a huge deal. Now, taking a look at the army tab, KillerB is macroing up way faster than Sixears, even though they're both on 2 bases. Sixears lost this expansion for quite a long period of time, and as far as resources go, I mean, because he was mined out of his main, he had a long distance mine for so long. That expert drop by KillerB, I think that was really the turning point in this game to make the food count now 135 to 100. And Killer B has a lot of unit producing structures. He's got a decent income going on here. It's now down to 880 because he's mined out of his main. This SCV is going to start building. That probe is in a good position to scout it because the SCV is going to start building a command center before he notices that there's a probe hiding back there and scouting. But it looks to me like Sixears is going to lose quite a few structures here. He's got stalkers picking off the Thor, but there's a huge amount of damage being done by these Marauders, taking out 3 gateways, a couple pylons, and with 6 medevacs here to heal them, these guys are going to be really hard to take down. Just 1 immortal was in that force, maybe 2. Maybe I missed the second immortal. Some charge slots though getting warped in and coming up to help clean this up, and in fact they are going to get that cleaned up. Looks like there are 6 gateways left for Sixears. No blink for the stalkers or anything like that. This probe is scouted, but still sitting around. Looks like a little bit of overkill sending this much of a force to go kill 1 probe. But maybe he's defending. Yeah, Killer B must have thought that it was a good idea to go send this troop so he could defend his fresh new expansion, and it's turning out to be a really, really good decision because Sixears is going to have to move back. It's not specifically that Sixears would not have won that battle, but Sixears at this point, his economy is not good enough to actually withstand losing this much of a force or close to this much of a force to take that out, because Killer B is macroing up way faster than he is, and it's now 123 to 82, which is a sizable difference. But it looks like Sixears he's gonna have to get this second expansion up and definitely keep it protected if he's gonna get back in this game. His economy is just not very strong, and we've got Killer B moving out with a 128 food army. Lots of medevacs because the reason that he's got this many medevacs with the force is because he recognized he was going to lose the battle that took place right here, and he actually escaped with the 6 medevacs before the stalkers could pick any of them off. I think there's only 1 SCV following this army, and if you take a look at the unit tab, he has 51 SCVs, and he's running out of minerals here at his expansion. Could probably afford to have sent about 4 or 5 SCVs with this group, because they can not only and then another mistake there is that it was the SCV was selected with the main army and went into attack. So yeah, when you're getting a control group 1 going with your entire army, sometimes you have to shift and deselect that SCV, so he'll just be following your Thor. It turns out it didn't have any effect whatsoever. Just an overwhelming force here for Killer B, thanks to his strong economy and that drop that took out this Nexus halfway through the game. And as we could see during that drop, just the one thing that I really need to mention for Sixears is he should have had that scouted way before. He had this pylon over here, this scouting pylon, and he wasn't watching his mini-map when the drop was actually coming, which is a really hard skill to master. Actually, is being focused on the mini-map more than on exactly what you're doing as far as your macro and micro is concerned. So definitely could have moved his army out about 10 seconds before he actually did. He didn't move his army until after his Nexus was already under attack, and at that point it was way too late. So that's what lost him the game, is not spotting that brilliant Marauder drop by Killer B. And I gotta say, really good troop movement by Killer B. Had a really good drop up at the top here, took out 3 gateways as well. Not that Sixears had the economy to produce off of all of his gateways anyways, but really good. Killer B stayed on top of his macro and won just about every exchange. Taking a look at the units lost tab, 21,000 units lost versus 11,000, and when it's that lopsided, you know exactly who's going to win. So, good game. Thanks for listening.